This is the new ASUS ZenBook Pro, and I wanted to find out why this was selling out absolutely everywhere. After using it for the past week, it's finally clear to me. Let me explain. So this laptop comes in a few configurations, but they're all pretty stacked with a powerful processor, a powerful graphics card, and offering a very, very accurate display, which personally really intrigued me. You see, there are 7 main things that people like about this laptop. Now, I was fortunate enough to get my hands on this laptop. This is the 14-inch OLED laptop, the UX6404, when the folks at ASUS agreed to send me one and partner up for this video. And of course, all opinions are my own, but we want to keep this completely unbiased. So I'm going to show you actual testing throughout this video. I have a lot of different tests, and some of the results might actually really surprise you. So 7 things that people really like about this laptop. So, I mean, the first one, without a doubt, has to be the display. Now, people might say that about a lot of different laptops. Maybe they look good, maybe they have fast refresh rate, but this one in particular is especially great for creators. So I'll show some color specs on screen. I'm not gonna read through all of them, but it's Pantone validated for color accuracy. And probably the biggest one, in my opinion, is the 100% DCI P3 rating, which gives you incredible color accuracy. It's an OLED Nano Edge touchscreen, so touchscreen, which is nice, but also OLED is going to give you better contrast. You're getting really nice colors on here. And it's a 14.5-inch display, which for me is a perfect balance of a very usable display. So it's not like a little 13-inch, but it's also very portable. I can fly with this, I can throw it in the backpack, it's not too heavy, and it really works in every environment I would use it in. In addition, the aspect ratio, it's 2880 by 1800, that's the resolution of the screen, which gives you that 16 by 10 aspect ratio, which is just a little bit taller than some of the older laptops. So again, you're getting a little bit more real estate that it feels so usable despite being less than 15 inches. So those all add up to make it very, very usable. And of course, it's 120 hertz and you're getting really nice, clean images regardless of the brightness you're using. Like, I can't emphasize enough, especially as somebody who edits photos and videos, like thumbnails, like all the different stuff that I'm creating and editing, like color accuracy on a laptop just goes a really long way, which is why a lot of creators are going to like this laptop. Now, number 2, this is more of a unique feature that a lot of competitors obviously just don't have, and this is the ASUS Dialpad. So this is a creator-centric design, but it's also highly effective for engineering and other professions. And so this little digital dial pad is on the trackpad. And it's actually optional as well, so you can use the trackpad as a normal trackpad, but if you swipe from the top right down and in, it'll enable this, and you can turn it on, and you can actually customize this for different applications you're running, and no matter what you're running, you can really do a lot with this. So if I'm doing Adobe Premiere Pro, I can swirl this to change the timeline, I could do like audio things, I can change all types of things that I preset for this little dial pad. So if you're somebody that uses Photoshop a lot and there's specific tools that you always have to go and open and use them, like you could possibly program those with the dial pad to just make your workflow a little bit more seamless. Moving on to number 3, I realize I haven't like properly introduced this laptop and given you a physical tour, but number 3 are the ports. So it has pretty much every port you will be needing as a content creator. Going around the outside, on the right side, of course, we've got our 2 little LEDs that are indicators. We have our SD card slot. This is a full-size SD, which means you don't need to have an adapter for your camera. You can just use full size in here, which is nice. I should note that when you put the SD card in, it doesn't go all the way flush. Full-size SD cards typically don't, so that's pretty expected. Then we have a USB Type-C 2nd gen. We also have a Thunderbolt 4 port on here. And on the back, this is quad vented, so this should be cooling pretty easily. Moving over to the left side, we have a 3.5mm audio port for headphone and microphone usage. We have a 2nd gen USB Type-A port. We have an HDMI 2.1 port next to that. And of course, on the end, we have our power port. So you can charge this, of course, by USB Type-C on the right side, or you can use the included 200-watt power supply on the left side. So this obviously has a very powerful processor and a very powerful graphics card. So 200 watts is going to go a long way in actually powering that. Now you'll notice there is no Ethernet port. They know this, they're aware that people might want an Ethernet port. So in the box, it comes with a USB Type-A to Ethernet adapter in case you're streaming and you really need the fastest speed. And speaking of things in the box, it comes with a pretty nice case as well that fits this, as well as an optional pen. So if you have a pen, since this is a touchscreen, the pen can go on the top of the case. Moving on, let's do the classic 1-finger hinge test. So if I just lift up on this, It opens very easily, perfectly smoothly. I think they really nailed it on this hinge, and that's something a lot of laptops genuinely do struggle with, so I'm impressed by that. It has very little wobble if you're typing, so it feels stable at any angle, and it goes back actually quite far as well. It doesn't go 180 degrees, but it goes much further than many laptops out there. Additionally, the one finger close test, again, no surprise there, it closes perfectly, and it goes all the way down till probably about like 10 degrees, maybe 5 degrees before it automatically closes, so pretty wide range there as well. The next reason people really like this laptop, and I again mentioned this in the beginning of the video, is the ability to edit and export photos and videos and any content, or maybe if you're an engineer and you're doing 3D designing, all of the stuff that really requires a lot of heavy lifting on the back end, this can handle it. Despite being the compact size that it is, this has an Intel Core i9-13900H, so it's a very powerful processor, and it has an NVIDIA GeForce RTX 4070 with 8 GB of GDDR6. So for anyone who doesn't know what that means, it means it's great for a laptop. This is really going to be among the best compact laptops. That's why it's called Pro, of course. It's going to be great for editing videos, and we will actually get into an exporting test in just a minute between this and a couple other laptops. In addition, you can have 16 GB or 32 GB of RAM, just choosing configurations when you're buying it. But now let's get into some speed tests, video exporting, as well as a Geekbench test. And kind of tying into that previous note, this has a really compact size with a great display, a full terabyte SSD on here, the H-series Intel i9, the NVIDIA RTX 4070, and all of that in a compact laptop. It's not the thinnest laptop out there, but it's probably the thinnest laptop with this kind of power. It's only 3.64 pounds, and it feels solid. It looks like it's just very impressive how they did that. So let's talk about the webcam. This has a full HD webcam with IR for Windows Hello. So let's get into a webcam test. All right, so this is a webcam test. I'm just sitting in a room with natural lighting here, pretty much like anybody would for any video call. This is shooting in 1080p, and this right now is using the AI noise reducing microphones. It also has microphones on the back, so 360 microphones. I'll turn that off and we'll see how it sounds when it's off. So now the AI noise reduction is off. This is what they call the authentic mode, and I'm in a pretty quiet environment, so you might wonder what noise, or at least I wondered what noise was being filtered out, and as you could probably hear in this example, it's the fan noise on the laptop that ends up being filtered out. So I think it sounds a lot better with the AI noise reduction on, which is the default, but you can let me know what you think about this video quality and the microphone quality. There's also a little shutter button on your keyboard, on the top of your keyboard, to turn that off. And of course, they have plenty of their own features. They call AI Sense. These are camera features like the ability to blur the background. And now let's actually get into a speaker test. There's not a lot of space for speakers on here, so it'll be interesting to see how this performs. All right, so now let's get into an audio test. I'm just gonna play some music at 50% volume and then turn it up to 100. What are we at? I think we're at number 6 on this list. The number 6 reason that people are going to be probably drawn to this laptop, the 6th thing you need to know, is the keyboard on here is actually quite impressive. So you have a backlit keyboard. It's a variable backlighting as well. They're very tactile keys, so I'll get into a typing speed test, but you can also hear like just the typing sound. I'll put my microphone closer so you can hear that. So during that typing test, I got 91 words per minute using monkey type, which is pretty average for me. I usually get between about 82 and 100, so the keyboard here is definitely easy to get used to. Nice tactile feel on the keys, and overall, it doesn't feel mushy. Like, they have a nice mechanical feel to them. They have nice travel. They don't feel mushy. They feel like a much larger, more mechanical keyboard, but there's still like a pretty slim profile. It's a laptop, obviously. So that is undoubtedly an impressive keyboard in my opinion. The trackpad is a pretty comfortable size and shape. It's a physical touchpad. I should mention that it's not a haptic one, so you will actually have to click, or if you just like tap, obviously that works too. But if you want that feedback, you'll have to push down a little bit harder to get that physical click on there. And for some people, that's going to be exactly what you want. And then moving on to number 7, these are the ASUS advanced controls that they have for the fan, the performance, and things like that. So let's actually get into a fan test. I'm going to max this out and see like if you're doing the absolute most for this, what does it look like, what does it sound like, and how does it perform? All right, so we are in performance mode. I'm exporting a video just to do a fan test, and I was clocking about 42 decibels at about 12 inches away, so definitely not silent when you're exporting. This is obviously using a lot of power, but as you can see, it's not the loudest laptop I've seen out there, and it generally only does this when you're exporting or doing some really heavy lifting. For most use, it's totally silent. But besides those 7 things, there are a couple extra things I noticed. The first one, I was pleasantly surprised that there was almost no bloatware on this at all. So when I opened it, you have like a couple ASUS apps, but they're actually quite useful. You have like McAfee on here, which every Windows laptop basically comes with. But other than that, you're not getting a lot of junk on here. And I really like that because as a creator, I'm going to install my own software on here pretty much right away, and I don't want notifications to distract me. The second thing I noticed is the battery life on here. You're getting about 8 to 9 hours with video playback, which pretty much middle of the pack. This is obviously a very powerful laptop, so you'll probably be plugging it in if you're doing any heavy lifting on here, but if you're editing on the go, you can still get the job done, and considering the size and the specs, like the battery life is definitely passable. There are 2 drawbacks I noticed, however. One of them is that all the USB Type-C ports are on the right side, so if I have like 2 monitors, which I do, and I wanted to plug them both in by Type-C, they both have to wrap around, and one of them just like couldn't quite reach, so I had to use HDMI for that one. But regardless, if you want to charge, for example, and you only have a Type-C cable, you'll always have to go over to the right side. The second drawback, I really like the look and the aesthetics of this laptop, but it's definitely a fingerprint magnet. You're gonna be cleaning this off pretty frequently. You can see it right there. It definitely gets some smudges. Now the price of this is $17.99 right now. I have a link in the description below, but in general, this is geared towards content creators with a great display, a great CPU, a great GPU, and that combo in a compact device like this that's easy to travel with is really huge. In addition, there's plenty of ports, so you can expand this. If you want to travel and use a compact laptop and then use 2 giant displays at your desk like I'm doing, like, it's really pretty versatile. So again, thanks to ASUS for sending this over and sponsoring this video. Super stoked about this laptop. If you're interested, we have a link in the description. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.